Hello and welcome to the post-wipe guide for Escape from Tarkov. Now, this guide is primarily going to cover things you can do in the beginning of the wipe, the first 2 weeks or so, to get yourself ahead of the game. Now, this isn't a step-by-step guide, it's really just more a collection of things that will help you along your way in your wipe. For example, things like keys. This guide will help point out which ones to keep, which ones are not so important, just so you're not passing by something that's really rare or going to gate your quest progression later on. Now, first thing we're going to look at is what are some good starting weapons. When you're back down to level 1 traders, you don't have a lot of choice, but the benefit of that is almost every gun in the game is lethal. There is really no bad option when it comes to picking out a weapon to start with, but there is a couple that potentially could net you more progress with just their ability to put down multiple enemies or multiple scavs. But generally you can almost ignore this rule if it doesn't suggest a weapon that you're really comfortable with. For example, if you absolutely love the TOS, then you are probably going to be better with the TOS than any weapon I suggest here because you're just more confident with it. Right, these first two, the first one's the SKS. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it's a 10 round mag, internal magazine, fires a 7.62 by 39, and that PS round that it fires is one of the most armor penetrating rounds you're going to have access to at level 1. So that would definitely be one of my go-tos, like 23, 25 grand, it's a steal. The next is a MP5K. It's not the full MP5, it's a bit smaller, but it does come with a foregrip straight away, and like I said, everything at this point is lethal, so it's got a fast fire rate, but I think the downside is you can only have 20 round mags, but still, it's a good option. Then I would recommend the PP9 Vityaz and the AK-74U. You might have to do a quest to unlock the AK-74U, but both of them are fully automatic weapons. Now the AK-74U has more armor penetrating capacity because it fires a 5.45, whereas the PP Vityaz I think is a 9x18? I think it's 9x18. It's the same round as a Makarov, I believe. The Vityaz also has pretty reasonable recoil straight out the gate, so you know what I mean. Like, the AK-74U is terrible for recoil without it, like additional attachments, so just keep that in mind. Right, so the 3 pistols at the top are all pretty reasonable. Now, the Makarov's probably the most cost effective, with the TT being the best budget option, and the Beretta being, I'd only reasonably recommend the Beretta is if you have a ton of rounds for the Beretta, which you do tend to start off with a lot of rounds. But they're all good options for the stirrup quest, and that's what I recommend. Now, the Mosin is the infantry variant, but with LPSGs at H, it's probably going to be the best round you have access to at the beginning levels. One of the big things to keep in mind when you're restarting from beginning when the wipe's concerned is Scavs are really dangerous again. Basically the way Scav AI, at least the way I've been led to believe it, is Scavs have like 4 different difficulties, which is like easy, medium, hard, and then sniper scav variant. Now you never know when you're going to encounter a hard scav or not, so it's easy. It's always best to play it safe, take them on from a distance, and try and take them out before they've actually, they've actually saw you. Almost every wipe you get people saying the scavs have been changed and been made more difficult. Sometimes that is the case, but most of the time it's because people are running around in tier 6 armor with face shields and they get reset to nothing, just running in with a pistol and they get one tapped. So just keep in mind that scavs will be way more dangerous than they are currently because you're not as geared when you're going into these raids. Now there are some items you need to pick up and collect for quests that have find on raid status. Now the wiki does have a list of items that you need to keep for quests, bearing in mind it won't be updated with the new quests they might add, but on the screen right now is that list, and I've also linked it in the description. So pause the video now or just go to that description and keep an eye on all of these items to make sure that you're not throwing away something that's potentially going to make you zip through a quest later on down the line. The next tip is basically the same except for the hideout. There is a bunch of items you need to collect to upgrade your hideout to different levels. Bear in mind there will be different items needed for new upgrades in the hideout, or they might change some. On the screen now is a list of items, again from the Wikipedia. That list will be in the description, so you just find that or pause the video now. Not shown here though is the 50 GPUs you need to get the full Bitcoin mining, so just keep that in mind. If you find a GPU, stash that shit. The next suggestion is to level by doing the quests. Now the quests are required anyway to unlock loyalty levels in higher traders, so you may as well get the experience whilst it's necessary. Now you can do other things to increase your ability to level through quests. You know, just small things like make sure every corpse you find, you just click on it once. If you do that in raid now, you'll see a little experience counter on the bottom right hand side that'll pop up when you've clicked on the corpse to loot it, and that's just like a lump sum of experience to just free up for grabs. So it's always worth just picking that up if you've got a corpse that you haven't looked at, because you know there's nothing on there, but there's still experience to be made that way. Now in the current iteration of the game, you do need level 3 strength and level 3 metabolism to get the maximum hideout levels. There is other soft skills involved, but these are the most difficult to train, so I would recommend training them from the beginning, from the get-go. I've got guides on how to train them. I will link them in the description below, but the quick version is to level strength, you've got to be overweight or throw grenades or use melee. To level metabolism, you need to be replacing one of the two resources, energy or food and water. It's food and water basically, food or water. So if you drink or eat, just keep drinking and eating everything you find in your raid and you should be alright. I would also suggest optimising your scav runs. Now what I mean by this is it's no good using your scav run all the time, and basically you don't get any experience for your scav, you don't level your soft skills, there is no massive benefit other than the items you find in raid. So unless you're on a quest that requires you to find something in raid, or perhaps you're waiting for a friend to get on to play the game, or something like that, maybe you've just got a really nice kit on that scav and you want to get out with it quick, well in that case you could load up to a factory, like a night factory or something like that, and just get straight to the exit. But the reason behind it is every raid you do as a scav run takes away XP you can get from for your PMC, and you can't complete certain quest activities on your scav as well, so just make sure you're not overusing your scav at the detriment to your own level, process or quest progression. I would also suggest trying to play the map with the most active quests. For example, Customs has a lot of quests at the beginning of the game. It's a really popular map because of how many quests are on it. And if you can knock out 3, 4, 5 quests on one map, maybe it's not 5, that's a lot, but if you can knock out more quests on one map through one game, like one raid, that's gonna, multiply your progress. Some quests unlock massively beneficial things, especially at the start of a new wipe. Now, a lot of these things are things you can buy from traders, unlocks vendors, some of them unlock completely new vendors. Right on the screen now is a list of the quests I would recommend you try and go for. The first one is Sanitary Standards Part 1, which I believe is the second quest on the Therapist's quest chain. That unlocks a car medical kit, and that's fantastic because that now means you don't need to buy both medkits and bandages. The car medical kit does both. Next is the Punisher quest line, and that's really only for people who have that don't have EOD, so they've only got the small containers. That's probably faster than getting the beta container, so I'd recommend that. After that's Friend from the West Part 2, which you've got to do Skia's quest line to do that quest, which unlocks from that unlocks the Peacekeeper quest line. Peacekeeper, it unlocks his missions, but he's unlocked from the start, so if you want to level him, you need to unlock his missions through that quest line. And then the last one is Jaeger, which is Introduction. That unlocks the Jaeger trader, which he's got some bullshit missions, but he does sell quite good stuff, so he's worth getting. And Introduction, I believe, comes from, it's the Mechanic. The Mechanic has that quest. Friend from the West is Skier. Punisher questline is Prapor, and Sanitary Standards is Therapist. So those are the 4 quests I would advise trying to, I say rush, but just keep them as goals in mind. And last is just what keys to look out for. Some keys you need for quest lines, some of them are just good money. The Customs Office key, that is required for delivery from a past. You can find that in codes, scavs, you can find it in, I tend to find that most in the filing cabinets, that's where I tend to find that most. The Machinery key is a static spawn in a jacket inside the dorms 205 room, I believe. but you can find that elsewhere as well, so if you find it, it's worth picking up. You don't strictly need that one, because sometimes the door to the truck will be open and you can just grab what you need anyway. Now, all the Shoreline keys are good. Some of them are quest related, but mostly they're just good money. Factory key is fantastic for getting up, getting more, extracts on factory, and then it also unlocks it. It's like a little pass through. You don't really need it because you can jump over the wall, but it does make it easier to go to and from. The mark key, that's great if you want to find a key bar. If we don't get, because I think at the beginning of this wipe we all got key bars in the New Year gift, so I think a lot of people will be rushing for key bars and documents cases. Checkpoint key is worth a lot of money. Porter cabin key is a quest key, yeah. I made a small little table of quest keys that you should keep and loot keys. So basically loot keys are any reserve key. They usually say RB dash and then it's like ABA or something like that, you know, but it always starts RB dash and then you know it's a reserve key. Same with the sanatorium keys, which are Shoreline, always worth picking up. And any key card for labs is usually good money, red key card being the most money. Now I will put a link to this graph, this little it's not really a graph, but this little, diagram I've made. I'll upload that and I'll put a link to that in the description, but I'll also put a link of the key page on the Wikipedia, which you can have a look on that. It lists all the keys and it lists whether or not they're a quest key. And that's going to be it for this guide. I hope it helps you in the wipes to come. If I think, that sounded vaguely like a toilet joke, if I think of anything, any other tips that could help, I might make a part 2, I might not. But if you know of any tips that I haven't listed, just put them in the comments and it'll help out everyone here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.